Hello everyone, my name's Elzahh and today I'm going to be reviewing Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I read Rebel of the Sands the other month. I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 stars on Goodreads. I found that it is such a unique book. It has so many different elements all in it. It had kind of like an Arabian Western type feel to it, but with magic thrown into it. It was just so unique. I haven't read anything like this before, and I'm surprised it hasn't got more buzz. I've seen this one around last year when there was some talk about it, but there wasn't a huge hype or buzz concerning it, which is why it didn't really hit my radar back then. I actually received this copy in a YA Chronicles box near the beginning of the year, and when I got it, just kind of like a light bulb went off and I was like, hey, I've seen that before, you know, I've seen it on Goodreads. But I hadn't heard much about it since when I saw it, which was a bit of a bummer because I would really have liked to see the hype for this book and for it to get the hype that it deserved, because it was really good. Sometimes you see books out these days that have so much hype around them that when you read them you're kind of like, why was that so hyped up? You know, I guess it's the marketing and publicity that was done for it, but we're wrong here. Like, this is fantastic. It is just so good, and I'm going to tell you why it's so good in a minute. It says on the top of the title, a new dawn, a new desert. I'm just going to quickly read a bit of the back of it for you so you get some understanding of what the book is about. This is what it says. Tell me how you want your story to go, he says, and we'll write it straight across the sand. Dustwalk is an unforgiving, dead-end town. It's not the place to be poor or orphaned or female. And yet Amani Alhaiza must call it home. Amani wants to escape and see the world she's heard about in campfire stories. Then a foreigner with no name turns up, and with him she has the chance to run. But the desert plains are full of dangerous magic. The Sultan's army is on the rise, and Amani is soon caught at the heart of a fearless rebellion. An epic story of swirling desert sands, love, magic and revolution. Vivid, romantic and wildly entertaining. That is blurbed by Ray Carson, author of A Girl of Fire and Thorns. And that's another series that I love, if you didn't know, because it's just over there. But this story was just fantastic. I loved it. And with a synopsis like that on the back, it's... how can you go wrong? I mean, honestly, just look at this cover detail. It is gorgeous. I wish I had the hardback so I can see what Under the Dust Jacket looks like, the hardback itself. I reckon it would look pretty cool. So this is a trilogy, and the second one that I think is going to be released next year is called Traitor to the Throne, and it just sounds like such a fantastic title. I'm so excited for the sequel. There's just not enough words to describe how much I love this story. I'm really looking forward to the next one, and then the next one after that. Fingers crossed for more books, but I don't know. It does say it's listed as a trilogy, so if you haven't read it, go pick it up and read it. I do recommend it. And now I'm going to get into a little bit more of a discussion, hopefully not too spoilery for you, but watch the rest of this video at your own risk. Basically, this story is about this girl Amani who is stuck in this desert town. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and she's lost her mother. She's alone, living with her uncle and his wife and their children, which is her cousins and whatnot. And basically she has very limited choices. She can either get married to someone, and the other choice is basically to die. She doesn't like her situation and she doesn't like to be told her only outcomes. So she takes upon herself to try and get herself out of this town, and she does that with the help of a certain someone. And together they go across the desert, and next you know it's an adventure that happens and all this crazy stuff and magic, and there's so much more that she didn't realize that was going on, and she pretty much has to think pretty quick whether she was content with a simple life or whether she wants to step into this new role that has been thrust upon her. And it's such a great story. I loved it. So if you haven't read it, go check it out. Basically it starts off with Amani entering this tavern kind of shooting ring that's going on, some competition that's taking place in a neighbouring town or in her town, and basically she enters this tournament to try and win the prize money so she can have some money to try and escape. While she's at this tournament though, she meets this guy named Jin. It's kind of a funny situation because she pretends to be a boy at first, so she's entering this tournament as a young boy, and so nobody knows who she is and nobody recognizes her, and she's like this really awesome gunslinger that nobody's apparently heard about because she uses a false name and she doesn't even look like herself. And she enters this tournament, nearly beats everyone, but as all good stories go, craziness just breaks out and it doesn't quite go her way. So her and this other guy, Jin, try to escape, and then unfortunately have to part ways. Then you get to a point where she's waking up the next day and she's having to open up her uncle's shop, and she hates living with her uncle's family, but she goes to open up the shop because nobody else seems to be able to do it in the household. And so she's there the whole day, but who happens to walk in while she's in the store but Jin? Within minutes of realizing who he is, he obviously doesn't know who she is because she looked like a boy before. Within minutes of them reuniting again, she's having to try and hide him and save his life because Jin, this foreigner that she's just come across once again, is in need of her help, and she has to try and hide him because somehow the Sultan's army is now in town. It seems a bit out there, that this beginning part, but it just makes so much sense, and it's kind of like, wow, like bang bang bang, there's just action and action after action, and it's absolutely brilliant. Just for that being like what, probably the first 3 chapters of this book out of the how many chapters it has, that's pretty impressive for a beginning. It's quite a hectic beginning, but it's brilliant, and it's easy to follow. And from there, some other craziness happens in town. They're both discovered, and then she's caught by the Sultan's army because she was hiding the foreigner, and she's in danger now. And next thing you know, Jim comes riding in and rescues her from the Sultan's army, and then this whole craziness just gets blown up. And if you didn't think that was enough, then they have to try and run away from the Sultan's army because now she's wanted as well as the foreigner, so now they're both wanted. And now that they both have the same common enemy, they both try and hop on a train to escape, and he tries to help her get to Izmin, which is a city that her mother talked to her about before she had passed, telling her that she had a sister who had left and escaped to Izmin, so she's on her way trying to get to Izmin so she can find her auntie, her mother's sister, try and make a new life and a new beginning for her. And of course, it doesn't go as planned. Along the way, they meet new people, they encounter new dangers, they find out new secrets and things that they didn't know were going on in the world or that were possible. One has secrets of their own, and the other finds out new things that come to light about themselves. And it's just brilliant. There's a lot of mythology, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of Western and Arabian types themes and sceneries to this. It's fantastic. Just the scenery and desert and everything in it is just probably a character of itself. It's so vivid and visual to think about. It sounds like such a weird mashup, but it's just so simple to picture in your mind, I think, and it's fantastic how it all works. These elements just all combined, something I haven't read about before, and it's pretty impressive how it works. There's these new groups, new towns, new places that you get to see. You discover a new kind of race, I guess you could say, that comes along. There is just a lot of mythical, magical elements that are thrown in on top of the Western Arabian feel. And this is probably the first book that I read that had genies in it, but I think in this they call them genies. Is that how you say it? Or you just say genie? Is a D silent? I'm not quite sure about that. While I was reading this, I kept picturing Aladdin. I kept thinking of the music from Aladdin in my head, and it was really starting to get annoying by the end of it. It's just how I kept picturing it, and I kept picturing the genie every time, and somehow these characters reverted to cartoon form. So there were Aladdin, and there were the genie, and Jasmine for some reason. I don't know why. It was kind of comical in my head. It was probably because I was up reading it till about 4 o'clock in the morning. So who knows how everything was processing up here. I mean, I don't know. It's 4 AM, I'm sleep deprived. Just the main character, Amani, for me, she was just perfect. Just, I loved reading everything from her point, and I really don't want to be swapped at any point because I love reading from her point because she is such a funny narrator. Just seeing Jin's reactions to things that she says and their banter is fantastic. And of course, you know, there's some romance that comes along and whatnot, but it's not instant lovey-dovey romance, and it's not like a huge kind of twist to the whole thing. You kind of expect it to come anyway. It's a YA novel. There's probably is going to be romance at some point. I liked how it came along. I liked how it built up to it and how it happened, and even just the other characters when they came along. I like how characters were introduced into it and how they weren't just thrown in at certain points. It's a book that I didn't know much about when I got it, or that it was coming out this year, but now that I've read it, it is one of my best reads of 2016, easily, hands down. I loved it, and I really highly recommend it for anyone. Like I said, it's an easy 5 stars. So that's all for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this book if you've read it, or if you're thinking of reading it, let me know down below as well. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my social links down below, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to be updated whenever I post a new video. So that's all. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!